Welcome to the quick movie recaps. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and subscribe. The movie begins by bringing us up to speed when Darby was just 7. She always wanted to be a cheerleader just like her iconic mother. But one day, Darby and her mother drowned in the water while swimming at the beach. Darby was brought back to life, but unfortunately, her mother died. After surviving the drowning accident, Darby got the ability to see and speak to dead people. Soon, Darby realized that the dead people needed her help. These dead people have some unfinished business in this world, and that's why they don't move to the afterlife. Now, Darby helps these deados, as it is what she calls them. She spends her Friday nights solving their problems by acting as their secret spiritual messenger to the earthly. Seeing dead people may seem like a curse, but to Darby, it is like a side hustle with no income. Darby doesn't like to go to high school. Her dad wants her to socialize more, but Darby thinks otherwise. She thinks that people should spend their time discovering their true self rather than trying to fit into these popular groups at school. Darby is friends with Gary, a dead man. Capri Donahue and her girls are the most popular in school. Darby doesn't like Capri because she is really bitchy. Capri is dating James Harris, one of the school's most handsome boys. Capri never noticed James until he participated in a music TV show. Even though he didn't qualify or win, but he was famous enough for Capri to date him. The biology teacher tells the class that she has paired the students with their lab partners alphabetically by their last names. Darby Harper gets to sit with James Harris. Capri tries to sit with James and asks Darby to move to the other desk. But Darby doesn't listen to her. The teacher tells Capri to sit on her seat. Capri gets mad and calls Darby a freak show. James apologizes to Darby on Capri's behalf. Darby thinks James is a good guy. She used to have a crush on James in 6th grade. Later, Darby goes to play chess with Gary. Actually, Gary is a stayer. It means that after his death, he chose to stay here. Gary is waiting for his wife, Linda, to die. So, they can move to the afterlife together. During the lunch break, a guy comes to talk to Darby. Darby thinks that he is a deado, but turns out he is actually a human being. Darby gets panicked and tells him that she doesn't want to talk to a stranger. Just then, the principal comes and introduces Darby to Alex, the new guy. He asks Darby to help Alex with his studies and be friends with him. Alex asks her what was she saying earlier when she mentioned her small business. Darby says to him that she just confused him with someone else. She also tells him that she does some social work on Friday nights. Alex asks Darby to hang out later, but Darby says no and goes away. Darby sees Capri and her friends perform a little skit they prepared. Later, in the restroom, Darby couldn't find her clothes. She knows who did it. She asks Capri to give her clothes back. When Capri denies it, Darby tells her that she'll complain to the principal about Capri bullying her. Capri gets mad and gives her clothes back. After that, Capri slips into the water while holding a straightener in her hand. She stupidly puts the straightener in the water and electricity suddenly crackles. In the next scene, it is revealed that Capri died because of the high electric shock. At night, Capri's ghost comes and wakes up Darby. She tells Darby that Gary told her about Darby's ability to see the dead. She also asks Darby to bring her back to life. Darby tells her that she can't bring her back to life, but only help move on to the afterlife. Capri denies it and tells her that she can't go away. Her birthday is coming next month and she has planned everything. Capri tells Darby that she wants to stay here just like Gary did. But Darby tells her that Gary has a reason and you're just wasting the time. You don't belong here anymore and need to move on by forgetting all the stupid things you planned. The next day, Capri sees her friends giving an interview to the news reporter about Capri's death and her upcoming 16th birthday. Capri gets mad at her friends for bringing her ugliest photo to her memorial spot. She uses her energy and throws it down. At school, Darby sees everyone talking about Capri. Later, Gary introduces Darby to Mel, another deado who died last night. He asks Darby to help him move and also let him see their chess game. Darby agrees. Later, Darby sees a girl coming towards her. She thinks it is Capri, but turns out it is someone else. Meanwhile, she bumps into Alex and gets scared. Alex asks her if she is okay. Darby tells him that she is fine and just trying to avoid someone. Suddenly, Capri shows up and Darby says goodbye to Alex to walk with Capri. Capri tells Darby that she has decided to move on, but only after her 16th birthday. She tells Darby that Darby has to make sure that the party still happens. Darby considers it foolish and rejects helping Capri. But Capri threatens her to use her energy to manipulate things in the real world. Darby still says no and enters the biology class. The teacher tells that James would not attend the class for obvious reasons. Capri threatens Darby once again and tells her that she will make the dead frog move and create a scene. When Darby doesn't agree, Capri throws the frog on Taylor's head. Darby lies that her hand slips and runs away from the class, saying that she isn't feeling well. She comes to the restroom, and Capri follows her. Capri pushes her into the toilet and puts her face on the toilet seat. Later, at Darby's home, Darby tells Capri that what she did was pathetic as she could have contracted any number of deadly diseases or infections. Capri tells her that Darby can easily get rid of her only if she can help her. Capri promises to leave if Darby helps her. Darby agrees and Capri continues to tell her plan to Darby. Darby needs to be close to Taylor and Bree and convince them to throw a birthday party in Capri's honor. Darby tells her that it is not possible because they hate her. Capri says that she needs to join the cheerleader team to win over Taylor and Bree. Then, Capri sees a photo of her and Darby from their childhood and says that she forgot that the two used to be friends because Darby was so weird when she returned to school after summer vacation. Darby tells her that she was going through a rough time after her mom's death. Capri asks her if Darby's mother ever came to visit her. Darby doesn't want to talk about it while Capri continues to say that her mother would have wanted her to be a normal teenager, having fun in life. Darby says she is not normal as she spent her childhood helping the dead people. The two continue to talk about the plan and Capri plans to give Darby a makeover. She finds her mother's clothes in the cupboard. She changes her whole look and asks her to take selfies to post. Capri also explains Darby the new meanings of emojis in texting. Later, the two go to James' house. Darby has to give him some school notes. When they enter his room, they see him singing. James is surprised to see her new look. He talks about Capri and Darby talks about her mother. Then he says thank you to Darby for bringing his notes. Next day, Darby wakes up to see some clothes hanging there for her. She gets dressed and meets his father before going to school. At school, everyone notices Darby and compliments her. At lunch break, Darby goes to meet Alex. But Capri doesn't let her sit with him. Capri tells her to sit with her group but Darby doesn't want to. Later, Gary, Mel and Capri talk to Darby. Gary suggests that it is a good chance for Darby to make some new friends while Capri asks her to follow her plan. When Darby says no, Capri throws a frog on her face. Darby agrees to follow her plan. Capri starts to train Darby for the cheer tryouts. Next day, Darby gets selected as the cheerleader. She also discovers that Alex is the mascot in a donut costume to support the team. Next day, Taylor misplaced her tampon. Capri tells Darby that she put in her locker so Darby could win Taylor's heart. Darby gives the tampon to Taylor. Taylor and girls invite Darby for practice in the evening. They start practicing. Later, they hang out together. That's when Capri tells Darby to suggest the idea of throwing a 17th birthday party in Capri's honor. The girls think it is a stupid idea until Capri asks Darby to tell them that they'll get more followers if they celebrate Capri as well as raise accidental electrocution awareness. They all agree to do that. Soon, Darby makes her place in girls' group and become one of them. People start to like her a lot. She performs with the cheers and get praised for her amazing performance. She also starts to like Alex. Alex asks Darby to go on a date with her and she agrees. The girls ask Darby to hang out with them. Darby agrees, despite knowing that many dead people are waiting for her to help them, especially Mel. She tells Capri to tell the other deados that she is taking off today. At school, everyone starts to like Darby. This makes Capri feel bad. Later, all girls sit to plan Capri's birthday party. Taylor and Bree say that it has now become Darby's party, which makes Capri even more upset. Darby tells Capri that it is her party, and no one is going to take her place. Later, Gary tells Darby that she needs to convey Mel's message to his son that he loves him. Darby tells them to meet her on Friday night and she will help Mel. Next day, Darby's father asks her if she is okay as she seems very changed. She tells her dad that she is just doing what he wanted her to do. She also tells him that she is fine but her dad still isn't convinced. Later, she goes to meet James. James shows her his photo album. She sees her pictures in there too. James tells her that he used to like her. He thinks that she is very cool. Then he talks about the birthday party that Taylor and girls are throwing. He thinks it is a stupid idea just to gain some attention. Darby starts to ask about his treehouse to change the topic. He takes her to show the treehouse. Then he asks her if he can pick her tomorrow for school as it would be really hard for him to go school without Capri. Darby awkwardly says yes and hugs him before leaving. She goes to school with him and everyone at school starts to look at them. Things get crazy when James holds Darby's hand in front of everyone. Later, Taylor and girls come to ask Darby if she is dating James. Darby denies it. Just then, James comes in his car and asks Darby if he can drop her home. Darby says she will go by herself and runs away. When she reaches home, she realizes that she has to meet Alex. Alex waits for her but when Darby reaches there, he's gone. Meanwhile, Gary and Mel explains to Capri how she is the first person who actually helped Darby to come out of her dark shell and change for good. Capri becomes happy and also realizes her mistakes. Next day, Darby apologizes to Alex, but Alex tells her that he knows she is dating James. Then he leaves. Capri takes Darby and apologizes for her rude behavior. Meanwhile, James comes there before Darby could tell anything to Capri. He gives a hug to Darby, which makes Capri really mad. James starts to talk about the other day he spent with Darby and how much he loved it. Capri misunderstands what James meant and gets even more upset at Darby. Later, Darby tries to tell her that there is nothing like that. But Capri insults her by saying that Darby is obsessed with Capri and James will never truly like Darby. Darby explains to her that there is nothing between her and James, but Capri goes on and calls her a freak whose mother didn't come to meet her. Darby gets mad and sends Mel and everyone else out. Capri warns Darby that she must not go to the party tomorrow. But Darby tells her that she will go if she wants to. Next day, Gary comes to meet Darby. Darby tells him that she doesn't want to talk to him or any other deado because she want to be normal. Gary tells her that her ability to see and talk to dead makes her special than the rest. He also tells her to talk to Capri or any of her friends if she wants to. But she replies that she is not friends with Capri and Capri just used her. She also calls her loser stayer who doesn't have guts to move on. This makes Gary a little sad. Later, James comes to meet Darby. He takes her on a drive and tells her that he thinks Capri is trying to communicate with him. He also says that he isn't ready to be in a relationship as he still misses Capri and wants to be just friends with Darby. James takes Darby to Capri's birthday party. Then, Taylor and Girls exposes that Darby was behind the whole idea about this party. James gets shocked and goes away. Darby follows him but bumps into Alex. Alex tells Darby that he knows that she is cool now and she doesn't want to hang out with a weirdo like him. Then he goes away. Darby goes to James and sees him sitting there with a board game to communicate with Capri. He tells her that he thinks Capri is here and wants to communicate with him. When Darby tries to take him away, Capri shows up and James says that he thinks she wants to say something about Darby. Capri asks Darby to admit that she can see dead people in front of everyone or she will expose her. Then, Capri moves the board game in the air. Darby tries to stop her but she doesn't stop. James asks Darby if she can see Capri. Darby asks Capri what she wants. Then Darby runs to stage and starts talking about her ability to see the dead people. She says that Capri's ghost made her who is now. Darby adds that she is just a puppet and freak show. Then she leaves the party. Soon, Darby puts all her mother's clothes and picture in a box and starts to dress like the old Darby. At school, everyone thought what happened at the party was fake and all planned. In a 1-month time span, Darby Harper became from the most popular girl to the social suicide. She doesn't even talk to Gary now. One day, Darby is looking at her and Capri's childhood photo and admit that Capri is her best friend. Just then Capri shows up. Darby is surprised to see her as she thought Capri moved on. Capri apologizes to her for everything she did to Darby and also talks about how James still misses Capri. Then Darby tells her that she never got the chance to be with the guy she actually likes, that is Alex. Then she tells that she found her mother. Darby's mother shows up. Darby is surprised to see her mother's ghost. Her mother tells her that she never moved on even after trying because she wanted to make sure if Darby would be okay and connect with people. She tells her that you're my unfinished business, Darby. Later, Capri tells Darby that she is the coolest person she knows and also asks her to take care of James. Darby promises her and then Capri says goodbye and moves to Afterlife. Darby becomes best friends with James and also continues to be a cheerleader as it makes her feel close to her mother as well as Capri. One day, Darby meets Gary and apologizes to him for her behavior. Gary forgives her and tells her that his wife, Linda, is in ICU and she probably doesn't have much time. It means that they can reunite soon and move to the afterlife together. Darby then apologizes for not helping Mel but Gary tells that Alex took care of it and pointed him. Alex shows up. Darby is surprised to know that Alex can see dead people too. She asks him why didn't he tell her. Alex says that he tried but she never really gave him a chance to tell her. She asks him he got the ability, to which he replies that after a car accident, he got this crazy superpower to see the deados. Then Darby asks him to join her and help the dead people with her. They also agree to go on a date and Darby is again friends with the Cheers. Then Darby talks to her father about her behavior and talks about her mother. Later, they sit together and watch their old videos to relive the memories. Darby sees her mother standing there, smiling, looking at Darby and her father. Then, her mother moves on the afterlife. After some time, Darby and Alex both continue to help the dead people on Friday nights and now they're also dating each other. If you're new to the channel, Please consider subscribing for more fantastic content.